If I could go back and tell teenage Dom, these are the things that you need to do if you were getting your first relaxer ever right now, oh, the heartache I would save. Well, hello everyone. I haven't done a hair-related video in a while, so let's get right to it. These are all the things that I would do differently if I was getting my first ever relaxer right now. Now, you guys know that I'm not too adventurous with my hair, meaning that, you know, I've never done a curly perm, I've never done keratin treatments, I've never had a weave, I've never done braided extensions, you name it. So I thought I would make this video because I am still getting comments like the one right here. This poor girl is really struggling with her hair and she dropped this in my Style Domination relaxed hair community and I want to help her out. So this poor lady is overwashing her hair with a clarifying shampoo, no less. That is just way too harsh. She's also using a conditioner that for her just isn't strong enough. It is not moisturizing or hydrating enough. She needs something more reparative. Now, you guys know that I am a huge advocate of Aussie 3-Minute Miracle, but my hair is pretty healthy. It doesn't need an excess of moisture and hydration at this point. I've got a really good balance, but somebody who's got just terribly dry, damaged hair just needs something a little heavier. Anyways, I get so many of these messages still that I think it's time to really hammer home the tenets of relaxed hair. So number one, if you are a relaxer virgin, if you have totally natural hair, honestly suck it up and pay for a professional hairstylist. Check their Google reviews, check references, do whatever you need to do to make sure that this hairstylist is right for you and your hair. A hairstylist who knows relaxers is trained on how to apply them, which relaxers are best for your hair, which relaxer strengths are best for your hair, how to apply it properly, how to rinse it out properly, the best products for getting you the best hair possible. She will oftentimes work way more quickly than you will in applying the relaxer cream, wash it out faster, and hopefully set you up with a routine that you can maintain at home for the best hair possible. Number two, using better quality relaxers. Now, it was my mother who relaxed my own hair when I was about 15 years old. We used Just For Me child relaxers, and after all the research I've done into relaxers and the best products to use on your hair, kiddie relaxers and adult relaxers are all the same. It's all the same product. It's all marketing used to make you think that children's relaxers are less harsh on the hair. I'm also, again, a huge advocate for going to a professional hairstylist and using professional grade, professional quality relaxers on your hair. I think a lot of relaxers that are sold in drugstores and beauty supply stores that are pre-packaged for use at home just aren't of high enough quality, and they most certainly do not have enough neutralizing shampoo, hair base in them, you name it. And I'm telling you right now, the sign of a good quality relaxer is the price point. If that relaxer is in some bargain department store for $5.99, chances are it's not nearly as good as a professional one that a hairstylist is using. High quality relaxers generally have better quality moisturizers in them, better quality conditioners, and oils to help you to keep your hair nice, soft, manageable, you name it. So a piece of advice that has really served me well that I got from somebody that I really trust and admire is invest in the best quality everything for yourself. And that should extend to, for instance, the people that you surround yourself with, the things that you buy, and of course, the things that you put on your hair. Number three is a deep one for me, and something that I would never admit to my mother is I probably should have waited. I nagged my mother forever to relax my hair, and she was right. I just wasn't ready. I would do crazy things like never ever condition my hair properly, not conditioning my hair long enough. I never used deep conditioners when I was a teenager. I would sleep with my hair wrapped up at night maybe half the time. I would walk in the rain without an umbrella. I would have my hair uncovered in the winter cold. You name it. I just wasn't ready to take care of it. And I don't blame little Dom. I mean, she wants to be out, hanging out at the mall with her friends, chasing this hot blonde guy named Ryan and hoping he'll take notice of her. Anyways, I just wasn't ready. I didn't know anything about hair care, and frankly, I just didn't really have the interest. I just wanted to look pretty. Something that I really had to reconcile with myself too is that I went to a school where I was one of like 3 black kids when I relaxed my hair, and I was surrounded with all of my little white friends who had this long, swishy, fabulous hair that just always looked great. And back then, everybody's hair looked great because we weren't dyeing it, bleaching it, over manipulating it, all those crazy things. But yeah, I just wanted a look that wasn't necessarily congruent with my ethnicity. I wish that I gave myself the time and the chance to really appreciate my natural hair. I look back at old family photo albums and I had really beautiful, super long, thick, natural hair, and I wish I just enjoyed it a little bit more. But then, you know, like I think about it, the flip side is relaxing my hair as an adult, and frankly, there was a time around when I started this YouTube channel where there was literally the natural hair police. Oof, these girls and some of these guys could be really harsh, and they could look at your hair choice and make assumptions and generalizations and really make cruel remarks about a perceived self-hatred that I had for myself for me making a simple hair decision. It seems to be a bit better now in 2024, where if a person wants to relax their hair, they don't have fear of having to wear like a scarlet R letter. But yeah, if I was natural at my tender age of 40-something, I probably wouldn't make a snap decision about relaxing my hair. Like most women, I'd probably think long and hard about it, because natural hair is a part of our identity. And whether we like it or not, any sort of hair that you have on your head can be judged pretty harshly. So yeah, think long and hard about it. It is a big decision and not one to be taken lightly. I know hair is hair is hair and it'll grow back, but in the Black community, hair choices are a big deal. Number 4, I wouldn't have manipulated my hair as much. When I got that first relaxer and I had this long, swishy hair, I was trying all sorts of terrible products that weren't geared towards my hair type. I was trying all sorts of hairstyles, which included a ton of heat. I was constantly messing with it. I was using hair care that absolutely was not made for my type of hair whatsoever. I just wasn't treating it well enough at all. A question that I get asked a lot is, can I get a weave the same day as a relaxer? I wouldn't. That is a lot of stress on hair that you have just altered. You have just altered the bonds of that hair to frankly make it weaker in order to get rid of that kinky coil to straighten out of your hair. So think about weaving in a ton of hair that puts stress on your scalp, puts stress on a weakened hair strand, you name it. I would not do that. That is just a recipe for disaster. I also would not color my hair the same day as a relaxer unless you know that that hair dye is safe and gentle enough to be put onto freshly relaxed hair. I implore you, if you have virgin hair, virgin natural hair, do not go relax your hair and bleach it on the same day. Do not go relaxing your hair and sewing in a weave the same day either. Just baby your hair. Take the best possible care of your hair once you relax it. So number 5 is an obvious one that everybody should be doing, and that is getting regular trims. I'm not going to go into too much detail with trims because I talk about that in every single hair video I do, but I get a trim every 8 to 12 weeks. Generally, my trims coincide with my relaxer. I will either get a good trim, like trimming off ½ an inch to an inch if I feel that my ends look ratty or I want a shorter look, or I will get a dusting. Dusting is what I do most often. It's when you literally like cut off that much hair, and that prevents split ends. It keeps your ends looking thick and healthy. Just do it. Don't be worried about retaining unhealthy length. I mean, no, stop it. Number 6, I would research more easy protective styles that I like. I always wear my hair in a bun, and that's a protective style that really works for me. I also think it looks really chic. It's like very elegant and classy. But there are so many amazing protective styles out there that I would like to try, and I think that if I did protective styles earlier, when I first got my hair relaxed, it wouldn't have broken off so much. It wouldn't have looked so dry and damaged, and I could have had more fun. But also I'm giving myself a lot of grace. When I got my hair relaxed, it was like 1993. In Canada, where I grew up and where I live, I just feel like back then didn't have the hair care information available to Black women like it's available now. You could walk into any store that sold hair care, from drugstores to like Sephora-like stores, and there was nothing for us. So yeah, I think if I were 15 years old now and I just relaxed my hair, I think of all the cool wigs I could have tried. I think of all the other hairstyles I could have done because I have better access to tools, hair care, hairstylists, you name it. But again, I'm giving little teenage Dom a lot of grace. So number 7, I wish that I knew more about hair care ingredients. I wish I really took the time to learn about hair care ingredients and which ones work best for my hair. So many people just go out and buy whatever's available to them, or go out willy-nilly and buy whatever people like me tell them to buy, without really doing the research into the type of hair they have, the kind of look they want to achieve, the kind of hair care problems that they want to solve, you name it. And I care about you guys, and I care about my own hair, so I only recommend things that really work for me and that I feel could really work for you guys on a general scale. If your hair is really dry and damaged, maybe you need a protein treatment with some like heavy keratin in it. If your hair's on life support, maybe you need K18. I wish I knew more about alcohols back then and which ones are drying and which ones are moisturizing. I wish I knew back then that silicones are beneficial. I love silicones. They work for me. I think it's really important that you have your eyes open and that you are making informed decisions when you part with your money for some of these hair care products. Lord knows living ain't cheap these days, so don't go wasting your money, and only take advice from trusted sources like yours truly. Deep conditioning always seems to stump so many people, so I'm gonna share a few that I really love. Now again, my hair's pretty healthy. It's pretty hydrated and moisturized at all times. So I love my Aussie 3-Minute Miracle. It's a very simple, very cheap and cheerful conditioner. It does a really good job of moisturizing, hydrating, and detangling my own hair. And why I feel comfortable recommending this to you guys is because it's a really solid detangling deep conditioner that anybody can use, and it doesn't break the bank. But if your hair is, you know, beyond resuscitation, you need something heavier. Biolage's Hydrosource Deep Conditioning Pack is another one that I love. This stuff can hydrate, moisturize, detangle, and leave your hair swishy, long, silky, the whole 9 yards so well. It does such a great job at deep conditioning your hair. It's luscious and lovely, and it smells totally incredible. And yes, just in case you're wondering, it does come in a bigger package as well. But I do love this one for traveling. Aveda's Nutriplenish Treatment Mask is absolutely incredible. I absolutely love this one. I absolutely love the word absolutely. She smells good. She's rich. She's luscious. I have been known to lather my hair in this and take a nice long bike ride around the neighborhood in the luscious humidity and sun, and then come home and rinse it out, and I feel like I've got new hair. Aveda, this whole line, I don't have nails. This whole line, fantastic. And lastly, JVN's Nurture Deep Hydration Mask, Intensive Hydration Mask, excuse me, is lovely. This is a new one that I've been using. So this contains clean hemisqualane, which is something that JVN is a huge advocate for. Hemisqualane is fantastic at hydrating and moisturizing your hair. It keeps it soft and luscious. It's also vegan and silicone-free, sulfate-free, and color-safe. That's what it looks like. It's thick and rich, and this smells incredible. It smells, oh, so beautiful, like just very elevated, very fantastic. It smells like jasmine. I love it. It smells so great. This one by Vegamore, it is the Revitalizing Conditioner. I really like it as well. It does a fantastic job at deep conditioning, like the smaller package, because you can travel with it, not in a carry-on, but a really great line. I'm really enjoying Vegamore. Take your hair supplements too, ladies and gents. The last thing I want to say about product ingredients is I personally am really sensitive to protein in hair care products. My hair just doesn't like it. And I was doing everything right, I felt. I was doing the most with my hair, but my hair just looked and felt terrible. And when I looked at all of the hair care products I was using, from shampoos to leave-in conditioners to hair serums, everything had protein in it. I had protein overload. I wish I knew about that way back when, because that would have saved myself a lot of grief, a lot of heartache. What's kind of a little saving grace there is that it's reversible. You just need to know how to do it. I've got a video on how to reverse protein overload that I will include here. But yeah, take a look at your hair care ingredients. If there's protein in everything, maybe that's why your hair isn't thriving. It can really make your hair feel crunchy and look terrible and dried out, and ultimately start breaking your hair unless you clarify the hell out of your hair and strip all of it out. If I were going to relax my hair today and I had totally virgin hair, I would buy better quality hair care products. And that harkens back to my earlier point that you really should invest in yourself in all points of your life. I know that things are expensive, living is expensive, but buy the best quality you can afford. Just be consistent with that. Be consistent in all areas of your life. It's the key to success. Number 9, do not do any of these things the day of your relaxer. I wouldn't even do them like 24 to 48 hours before your relaxer. Do not scratch your scalp. Do not wear tight hats. Don't wear any hats whatsoever, and that includes baseball caps. No working out the day of a relaxer. I most certainly don't work out the day of a relaxer. Do not wash your hair the day of a relaxer. Do not wash your hair right before a relaxer. I will wash my hair a week before a relaxer. Let my scalp get nice and dirty to prevent burns. Just really baby your scalp, because if you overstimulate your scalp, if you're rough with your scalp, it irritates your scalp, which makes the relaxer cream burn your skin. It sucks, it's terrible. It is literally a chemical burn, and you don't want to repeatedly injure your scalp. Remember, healthy scalp, healthy hair. And number 10 is a great little tip that my hairstylist Gloria gave me ages ago, and that is, if you must self-relax. If you are relaxing your hair at home and you're doing it regularly, switch up the places where you apply the relaxer first. So let's say in January, you start relaxing your hair on the left side of your head. In March, you start with relaxing the right side of your head. And this helps to prevent underprocessing. That is something that I noticed when I was about 16 or 17, my mother would always start putting the relaxer cream on the left side of my head, and my scalp was so sensitive that by the time she got to the right side of my head, that relaxer would be burning so bad I would be praying for death, and she would have to rinse out the relaxer really, really fast, and it just wasn't giving enough time to process this side of my hair. So when I was about 17 years old, I noticed that this side of my hair looked like this, you know, straight, silky, fabulous. And this side of my head was a frizzy, knotted mess all the time. And so my mother was at a loss, and she just wasn't confident enough about doing a corrective relaxer. So we drove to the mall to see Gloria, and Gloria did a corrective relaxer for me. She explained to us that this side of my head just had 2 years worth of underprocessed hair, and she was able to pull through the relaxer and really help me out and even out my hair. Anyways, my loves, I hope that you found this video helpful. I really, really want to make this relaxed hair journey as easy as possible for everybody. I want to share my own experiences and hopefully spare you guys from any heartache that I experience with my hair. So again, consistency is key. Investing in your hair care, finding a great hairstylist, all of these things that I just pointed out, I think will really, really help you. I know will really, really help you. Anyways, I love you guys, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you in the next one. Bye!